I sat across from my mother, father, and their lawyer, hands flat on the table, completely still. They thought that meant I was folding. What they didn't know was I'd spent 4 years quietly making sure I'd never have to. I built my marketing consultancy at 23 with one laptop and no money from my family. 16-hour days, eating rice and eggs for months. Once it succeeded, they suddenly wanted in. My mother started calling herself a founding partner to clients. My brother Marcus got hired as client relations manager, a title with a salary and no actual work. My father criticized every decision with zero experience behind it. I said yes to all of it, believing that's what family meant. The breaking point came when I landed the biggest contract of my company's life. I called my mother first. Her response, Marcus should be the account lead. When I pushed back, she said the sentence that had shaped my whole life. You're always finding reasons to hold him back. That night, I called my attorney. Not to complain, but to check my legal exposure. I'd never trademarked my brand properly. Marcus had a title, but no signed agreement clarifying he had no ownership stake. My mother had signed a few vendor contracts using her self-appointed title. Nothing that gave her real authority, but enough to cause trouble. So I spent 3 years quietly closing every gap. I trademarked everything. I had Marcus sign a proper agreement framed as insurance paperwork, stating plainly he had zero equity. He signed without reading it. I removed my mother from vendor communication under the guise of streamlining. And I did one more thing, quietly, through an LLC with a meaningless name. My parents' house carried a second mortgage that had slipped into default. I bought that debt directly from the lender. They had no idea I now held the lien on their own home. 18 months later, at a family dinner, my mother made her move. We think the ownership structure should reflect how involved we've been, she said. 30% split between me and Marcus. When I asked what happened if I said no, my father answered, Your mother has documentation. We've spoken to an attorney. They filed the claim. Discovery uncovered something far worse than a business disagreement. My mother hadn't just signed vendor paperwork. She'd used her fake co-founder status to open credit lines and spent that money on personal expenses. Shoes, a spa weekend, a kitchen renovation. That wasn't a dispute. That was fraud. At the settlement meeting, my attorney laid out the fraud documentation first. My mother tried reframing it as loyalty. You'd really do this to your own family? I told her plainly. You didn't help build this. You arrived after I'd already built it and took what you could. When I stopped letting you take, you tried using a court to force more out of me and committed fraud while you did it. Then my attorney slid across the second document, the lien on their house. My father read it twice before he understood. What is this? He asked. The company that holds your mortgage note, my attorney said. Who? I answered. Me. I laid out my terms. Full withdrawal of their claim, signed agreements they'd never assert ownership again, and my mother's fraud would go unprosecuted only if every term was met. They signed everything. My mother told me she loved me on her way out. I told her I knew. My father left without a word. 4 months later, Marcus texted an apology. I answered 3 weeks later. I know. Take care of yourself. Not reconciliation, just 2 people acknowledging something real happened. My company is still entirely mine. The healthcare contract renewed. I hired an operations director with zero relationship to me, someone I never have to protect anything from. I kept the lien on my parents' house, restructured to be manageable. I'm not trying to take their home, but I meant it when I said I'd be prepared. If anything ever changes, I already hold the paper that ends the conversation before it starts. I sit in my own office now on a lease I signed in a company with only my name on it. The mornings are quiet. That's what I built. That's what I kept. If your family only showed up once you had something worth taking, tell me in the comments. Would you have done the same thing?